Hey y'all, this is Ryan Swanger, and you're listening to episode 126 of True to Size.
Well, that was perfect. What's going on, everyone, and welcome to True to Size. We are a weekly podcast centered around the wild world of sneakers. I will be your host today. My name is Lawrence Hopkins, and I'm joined by the rest of the quarantine at Canada Got Soul, Mr. Joel Hernandez.
Howdy doody.
And Mr. Alvin Martinez.
What it do?
Oh, that's a different kind. That's a different part of Texas. And are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Giddy up and yeehaw. This week's guest is coming live from the deep south. So you know we're going to hear several y'alls come out of his mouth. More New Balances than your grandfather, but more swag than your favorite rapper. With a house decorated crispier than a white tee fresh out the wrapper. His outfits be hidden and his photos are all bangers. Everybody say howdy to our homie Ryan Swanger.
Nice. Appreciate you guys having me on tonight.
Of course, man. Thanks for being here. Bro. It's a long time coming, obviously. Yeah. We tried last year, but there was a hurricane.
Yeah.
So, so screw that. But happy to have you here. Happy to see that you're breathing fine. You don't have a cough or a light fever. We know that the conditions are not the best where you're from. So thank goodness you're okay, held up in your home. For all the listeners, would you please give them a rundown of where you're from, if the intro didn't say it enough?
So I'm originally from West Texas, a small town in West Texas, so real country, and I live in Dallas now. And I've been to a few other places, but basically I've been in Dallas for most of my adult life.
The fact that there's real country in Texas scares me. There's the fact that you had to put real in front of it is like, oh gosh, I don't know if half of this podcast could drive through there.
This will tell you guys how real country, the difference between real country and Dallas, which most people imagine has horses running around in it and stuff. When I started dating a girl in high school that lived in Dallas, and so I drove in to take her on a date. And her friends, as I was talking, they're like, you have to slow down or do something. We don't even understand what you're saying. So my accent was so bad, they had no idea how to And that was in Dallas. So, yeah, I'm from much more of the country than here, but my accent's evolved as I was
going to say, so you've been visiting a speech coach for 30 years trying to adjust what your parents taught you.
Absolutely.
Love it. I hope this is a theme. I hope we don't understand you for the rest of the podcast. But anyways, we've got an awesome show this week. For what seems like the 100th week in a row, a shoe has sold at an outrageous price at an auction. We also have a new record for longest ever EEE to read out, plus a bunch of other messages about our first ever international guest from last week. Sorry, Ryan, you were so close to being the first ever international guest. First the worst, second the best. That's what they say.
Yeah.
Then, because we have Ryan here, our first American guest, we've got lots of questions to ask about the sneaker game in the US of A. But before that, we need to play our favorite game, 21 Questions. And before that, Alvin.
Fire round.
Yes, the fire round. We like to start every show with a quick hitting question from you, our listeners. And this week's question comes from Mark Vincer. I hope I'm saying that right. From the UK. Mate.
Ooh.
He says,
Mark
Vincer.
Vincer.
Speaking of accents, Ryan, would you rather have your accent or a British accent?
I would pick the British all day long.
Oh, yeah.
That's a shame.
Swanger.
Swanger.
Ryan Swanger.
Swanger.
It goes from like Cowboy to James Bond so fast. It's crazy. All right. So Mock's question is, just like Sean Wotherspoon did on the 97-1, if you could put two shoes together, what would they be and why?
Ooh.
So I'm going to go first so you guys have a little bit of time to think about it. I've had a little bit longer. My answer is going to be the Dunk and the Jordan 1. No, I'm just kidding. That would be stupid. I would do a Dunk, and I know they've done a lot of outrageous stuff with the Dunk. They've done like the free outsole, I think the 5.0 free outsole. They've done some crazy things. But I think it would be really cool to do like a 97 sole on a Dunk. I mean, it would be outrageous, obviously, but that's the idea we're going for here. I always like the 97 sole because it's a little bit more sleek than the other air bubbles. It rides a little bit lower, just like a Nike Dunk Low. I see Ryan like looking at his stacks, I think, to the side, like what do I want to combine here? But yeah, I think that the silhouettes may take to each other well. I might even have to hit up Kanatsky and see if he can do that for me, because I think that a Dunk upper with a 97 outsole bubble might look kind of cool. So I'm going to go with that.
Oh, yeah.
Alvin, what do you got?
I'm going to totally mess up the whole game and go. I'm going to do a New Balance 998 on a Nike Air Max 1 midsole.
That would fit really well.
Yeah. I mean, they just very, very similar silhouettes, but I just feel like with my weight, the Air Max 1 midsole would hold up more and not wrinkle as much as a 998 midsole would, or usually does on my under me anyway. But yeah, I've seen some crazy combos like customizers doing like a Yeezy on like an Air Max and stuff like that. It looks dope, right? Like if you cross the brands, it would look pretty crazy, even though the brands would not like it. I think it would look crazy.
You just mentioned something and it reminded me of something, and I'm going to take all the credit now for Sean Weatherspoon's collaboration, basically. Years ago, like maybe 5-6 years ago, I hit up a friend of the show, Jay the Ripper, back when he was more active. Actually, I think he's kind of resurfaced a little bit, but he does crazy like cut and sew and reconstruction and stuff. I hit him up with an idea, and I was going to call it because that's right after I got the What the Dunk. I wanted to do a What the Icon. And I wanted to send him like a Converse Chuck Taylor, a Superstar, an Air Force, like a bunch of like iconic sneakers from different brands, and have him mash those together. Like I wanted to put like a Superstar on top of like a Chuck Taylor outsole or something. I forgot about that. That
looked good, man. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I forgot I was even going to do that. Wow, I'm taking all the credit now for this whole wave we're seeing. No stress though. I don't want to make it a thing. Joel, what about you? What would you do?
I would probably do something wild, like a 4D midsole.
Oh,
like an Adidas 4D midsole, and like I don't know, maybe like a Flyknit upper kind of thing.
Damn.
Because I think that would probably gel much better than any other kind of thing. But that would look pretty dope.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. That would be the most light running shoe ever created, probably.
Yeah,
like a racer.
For real.
Literally, yeah. All right, Ryan, you've been studying your shoe wall, it looks like, off to the right-hand side of you. What have you come up with?
So the one that's most interesting to me is like one of the Salomon trail shoes with a Hoka, so that really thick Hoka One midsole. So you got like trail vibes, but like massive cush with that. Nobody else is coming up with that.
Massive cush.
I wish I knew what any of those words meant. Is this your accent coming through? Like, I don't know what you're even saying. Did you say Air Max?
I was thinking of like a super cush trail shoe. Like I've been doing a lot of Gorf vibes lately, and I thought that would kind of be cool. So everybody else is like ready for the next segment, but I thought that was cool.
Everyone look up Hoka trail shoes while you're listening to this. Hoka trail shoes. And Solomon, yes. I thought they only made skis,
Solomon.
but apparently they also make
they
shoes.
got great trail shoes. Yeah.
Salmon trail shoes, cool.
Salmon.
If you would like to submit a question for the fire round and have us answer it on the pod, please shoot us a message on Instagram or email us at canadagotsoul@gmail.com. Thank you for the question, Mark Vincer. Next up, the CGS picks. Each week we all pick an upcoming sneaker to analyze, dissect, and give our thoughts on. Then we decide if it's poop, scoop, whoop-de-whoop, or Alvin's trademark phrase,
super cute.
And once again, we're going to go in order of age of our children, meaning I will go first once again. Wow. This has to be some sort of record. My pick this week is, it's pretty cool. It's the Kobe 5 Protro Eyeball Edition, EYBL. So EYBL is Nike's elite youth basketball league that's been around for seems like forever. It's been around for a long time, and every year they do a bunch of like cool sneaker collaborations for this league, and there's always that one big one that hits it like right on the head. And this year it's definitely the Kobe 5. So it features like a whole upper dressed in the like camo dark pine green almost with yellow lining, and then like a pink like hot punch hit on the heel, and then bronze around the swoosh on the medial side, and then you've got like the medallion on the tongue that says EYBL. Just overall like a really clean shoe. Even if this wasn't a collab or a special release, I think this would be a really solid shoe. And then you add the fact that it's special, and I think it's the first Kobe to release since February, since everything happened. So I mean, put all that together, and no one in this chat is going to get these. No one in the world is going to know anyone who gets them because they're going to be so sought after. But a really cool shoe. No official release yet. I'm not even sure if the EYBL stuff actually technically releases to the public. I feel like it just kind of leaks out through the camps and through the people who get them for free when they go to the league. But we'll see. There's no official release yet, but these are definitely, we'll call it a cute, because I know I won't be able to get it, and I don't want to get myself too excited. But yeah, really cool shoe overall. Joel, what do you got?
Me, I got the Nike ACG Zoom AO. AO. So it's considered like the ultimate summer hiker to go with the Solomon hookahs that you got over there. But the upper is a predominantly black upper. It's got like a sort of like a tie string kind of thing where you have to like adjust it and it tightens it up, like it sucks in your foot into the shoe kind of thing. It's got like the typical ACG colors, the purple with the red hits mixed with orange, and the outsole it's sort of like all rubbery kind of thing where you can like walk in creeks and like like you could walk comfortably in creeks and it'll drain out really quick. You could climb walls and stuff like that. It's in like a sandy brown kind of thing. But these are pretty dope, man. It's a really cool looking shoe. From what Sneaker News says, it's like a mix of the Kukinis from like 2003 and the SFB Jungle Boots, like mixed together. So it's got like a overall like rugged look, like typical ACG. But yeah, man, these are super cool, super cute. I doubt I'll be going after them because I can't climb walls. But a lot of details too, man. A lot of details too. Like on the bottom, like if I could zoom in, it's got like, hold on, let me just tilt my phone. It says ACG means all conditions gear, and all conditions gear means all conditions.
Oh, I like that.
ACG is designed and tested in Oregon, USA, manufactured to the exact specifications of championship athletes throughout the world for outdoor use. The name and swoosh, stripe, and ACG triangle are your guarantee of quality, made on Earth.
It says all that on the bottom of the shoe?
On the bottom of the shoe, just like, like the Jordan 10s. Like
there's an essay on the bottom of the shoe?
For real, man. Like, yeah, like, seriously. But yeah, man, like, a lot of detail went into the shoe. Like, even, like, that same all conditions gears, like, on the insole as well.
Damn.
So, but yeah, man.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique shoe for sure. Do you like that lacing system, like the pull string lacing system?
Well, like if you're gonna be using it for what it's meant for, like that's probably like your best bang right there.
Pro tip on that, by the way, since I'm the Solomon guy, I'll point this out for you guys. If they have those pull strings, there's usually like a lace garage. Put the laces in the lace garage. Don't be one of those creeps that has it flopping around. Look for your lace garage. So there you go.
Okay.
Two things I need to unpack from that statement from you. I've never ever in my life, I'm 27 years old, heard the term lace garage. That's the first thing. Well, and it's crazy that I knew exactly what you meant too, which is weird. Secondly, the fact that you said people who don't use the lace garage are creeps means you're really into Solomon. Like,
Just a little floppy. Welcome to the podcast.
Guys, is it too late to get someone else on the pod this week, or are we just like committed? I think we're in too deep. We're already 15 minutes in. I think it's too late to turn back. Alvin, what do you got?
I got the Nice Kicks X Reebok Questions, aka the they call it the Bubba Chuck. Man, the colorway itself is pretty dope. The colorway was designed by our good friend Frank Cook.
Yep.
Who used to be with one of our other good friends, Jordan Brand.
He's on the show next week.
I mean, if we got Swanger, obviously we can get Frank Cook.
Exactly,
Let's
right?
get it.
Easy, bro. Easy.
But yeah, man, the colorway is inspired from Allen Iverson's favorite pastime, which wasn't, just chilling and, watching TV. He likes to go fishing. So I feel like that's why there's a lot of like the Moab-y colorway vibes to it. It's dope, man. The midsole is like a forest green with speckles that are 3M. And then like the mud guard, I would say, is like a khaki-ish or like a really off-white, like whatever color.
Oh,
then
is it
you got hints of purple.
collab?
I wish. Then everyone's buying it. Then it's got some yellow, some teal, really dope color blocking, man. Like I'm a huge fan of the shoe. It's just I know it's gonna be hard because it's gonna be a nice kick / like you'll have some boutiques getting it, but yeah, it's dope, man. I'm a huge fan. I'm gonna say these are a super duper cute just because I'm not trying to struggle to purchase these. But if they were easier to purchase, they would be like a super duper whoop-de-whoop scoop thing. But yeah, super dope shoe, man.
Like if you were walking through the outlet mall and you walked into Reebok and they were sitting there, you're like, that's it for you for sure, no matter what.
Sold, bro. Sold.
Nah, I'd pay retail for these.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, like if they were on Reebok.ca or .com, I'd scoop these, man. These are dope. I like, me, man. I love the Moab-y type colorways, like the weird colorways and stuff.
Absolutely. And I know you're a question fan too.
You already know.
Big fan of questions here. I got a question. Ryan, what's your pick?
My pick is the Jound collaboration with New Balance on the 992. There's two of them coming out. My pick is the green one, so it's like a mossy green with like a deeper green on the end and the cream laces. They haven't shown the full shoe to my knowledge, but that is a shoe, probably my favorite upcoming release for the year so far. And it is, for me, because 992s I love. I bought several of them, but so many of them, I don't know if you guys have followed, like the secondary market on a lot of these 992s is like $750 to $1,200, which on shoes.
Wow.
Like the Joe Fresh Goods, the double taps are more than like Pata Air Max 1s, dude. Like,
it's crazy, bro.
Crazy. So I haven't been able to get as many as I wanted, but these I've kind of decided if they're under 500-ish, because I don't ever get anything when it releases. I think I would buy these and just sell some other stuff to kind of help justify this stuff. But I love this shoe. So big scoop for me. Big scoop.
Big scoop. It's crazy that you love the shoe so much and you've only seen like a tenth of it, which is really impressive. Like it's going to be.
Yeah. I'm a Jound fanboy, so like all the different stuff they do. I've got hoodies, the APC jeans. I've got the Reebok collab they did last year. Nice. All their stuff is really clean and simple. I really like it. And so, yeah, this one, when I saw green, which is like my favorite sneaker color, and the cream laces, I'm pretty much sold.
Yeah, the cream laces are crazy, bro.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I do love also that you picked a Canadian shop collab as your pick. It's very... Shout out to Montreal real quick. We'll meet you in Montreal for the release. How about that?
Deal.
I'm sure there'll be no lineup because that's really dangerous. But the only one crazy enough to do it would be an American. So we'll see you there.
Well, and we can come back to this, but just while you mentioned the lineup, did you guys see today the lineup for the Eric Emanuel shorts?
No.
In New York? I guess they did, and I don't know all the details, but I saw people starting to show a video, and there were people just crammed in trying to get these.
Oh my gosh, bro!
You joke, but it's actually
New York too.
In New York, of all places.
Yeah. So I'm not even sure what all they were releasing, but you just saw
Oh man.
So-
It doesn't matter what they're releasing. It could be a gold bar. Like, stay home. Doesn't
For real.
matter.
Oh man.
All right, good picks all around. Next up, this week in kicks. This is the part of the show where we discuss the current headlines and happenings in the world of sneakers. I almost messed it up. First up, shoes keep selling for insane amounts at auction. So 2020 has kind of been the year of like stupid prices for auctioning shoes off. We obviously saw the $500,000 Jordan 1s earlier. We saw a ton of other stuff go down. And now Virgil's keeping the train rolling with a charity auction to benefit 2 different Black Lives Matter organizations in the UK. No confirmation if this is due to the backlash he received for donating a whopping $50 to the fund on when it was all going down, but he raised a little bit more with this. So the shoe up for grabs in question is none other than the unreleased sale Off-White Jordan 4, and the winner gets to choose whatever size they want. So I guess if they weren't actually already confirmed to be coming out, which I'm sure they were already confirmed, they're definitely confirmed now if Virgil's just sitting on a full-size run that he can send out. But the auction ended this week, and the winning bid was massive, especially for a shoe that's apparently coming out. $186,859.49 USD.
Wow.
So 2 things here. If this shoe's actually coming out, which is great. I mean, it's a charity donation. I mean, Virgil is signing the shoe for you and sending it off to you personally, which I'm sure means a lot to some people. That's awesome. But for a shoe that's coming out, that seems like a little bit much. And secondly, the fact that it's $186,859.49 means the one guy who won was probably bidding against somebody, which to me is crazy. The fact that he added the 49 cents means he was trying to like just beat the other guy, which like there was 2 people who were willing to pay this much. That's insane. Like, it's a cool shoe. Like, maybe if you take off the last 5 digits and it's 186, I'm in. But like, holy smokes. But yeah, anyways, good job to Virgil. I mean, he raised a lot of money for charity, so I mean, we're not going to knock that. As much as we try to knock Virgil at any time we are able to, good for him.
Yeah.
Next up,
Absolutely.
Kanye West has a massive new partnership. So this is kind of NSR, but I mean, it's kind of also sneaker related at the same time. So Kanye kind of just keeps winning constantly. And today he added several other things to an example of that on his resume. But specifically what we're going to talk about is his 10-year partnership that he announced with The Gap to introduce a Yeezy Gap line for men, women, and children that promises to deliver elevated basics at an affordable price point. So, first of all, insane that it's 10 years. The Gap expects it to bring in $1 billion USD annually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Annually.
Yeah.
So,
Makes sense.
I mean, that must mean it's going to be readily available whenever you walk into any fucking Gap anywhere in the world. You'll probably be able to find the Yeezy line wherever, front and center, if they want to make $1 billion annually. Kanye is also going to be receiving royalties and potential equity in the brand based off the performance. Following the news today, Gap stock prices rose 40% on the stock market. 40%! So
That's crazy.
The Gap was obviously kind of just, I don't know if they were dying, like I didn't follow The Gap very religiously. I'm not going to be one to say I did, but they seemed like they were just kind of maintaining their status quo for the most part. Oh, they were going down, Ryan? Yeah?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, they kind of peaked in the like late 90s, even early 2000s, but they really had a precipitous kind of fall over the last couple of decades. So, there may be some stock blips, which is financial, but in terms of kind of relevance within retail, I think that's been falling off. So this is a pretty big move for them.
Yeah, I think that's an understatement. And obviously it's a cool collaboration, like always on the podcast. I don't remember who we got the term from. I think it was Alexander Troy. That's his name, the Air Max man, right? Alexander Troy. He told us the term raison d'etre, like reason to be. And as much as this seems like a little bit of a money grab by Gap, the backstory of Kanye working at the Gap in high school it's kind of hard to beat, and it's kind of cool. Like if it was just out of the blue, it would be kind of weird. But with that backstory, and several years ago, him saying he wanted to be the Steve Jobs of the Gap, which is a very oddly specific thing to want, but good for him. Like it all kind of came together for him, which is really cool. 10 years is a massive, massive commitment.
Huge.
And I'm gonna be lining up at the Gap. Shit. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're trying to make $1 billion, I hope you wouldn't have to line up though.
That's true too.
Yeah.
One thing I don't know if you guys saw, but the Gap had announced in January that they were doing a collaboration with Telfar.
Yes.
And so one of the side controversies in this is they put that on hold because of the whole COVID situation. And I guess Telfar came out today and said they hadn't paid them yet for any of that work. So it's kind of a bummer on that note for sure. I did see though that Kanye announced, I believe, that he's appointing a black female this line of their business, which is I'm super happy about that. I think that's great, especially around empowering people to be in executive roles, which is something that still needs a lot of work. As being somebody that works in the business field, a lot of work needed there, and I'm super excited to see that.
Especially overseeing a line that's hopefully going to take in $1 billion a year. Like that's going to open not just doors, garage doors. We'll call it sneaker garage doors, lace garage. Sorry. But yeah, just it's really cool. Like it's kind of it's what H&M tried to do with their designer collabs before H&M. I mean, they haven't been relevant for a little bit of time now, but they did like the Balmain thing, Cause Uniqlo. Like it's adding the consumer entry level version of a really cool thing and making it more accessible, which is what Kanye has been trying to do with his sneaker line for the past 5 years anyways. So it's really on brand for him, and it's hard to hate on it. Like as much as people try to poke holes in a lot of what Kanye does, like I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but with Uniqlo, they've been doing collabs with a lot of high fashion brands, so like La Mer and JW Anderson and some of them. And I buy a lot of that stuff, and it's basically Uniqlo prices, but closer to the designer quality. And the stuff's fantastic. And if Gap buys into that model, where it's like more of Kanye's quality that they sell at the higher prices, but it's a volume play, I think that could be really great. I mean, those collabs seem to sell out and do really well. And so I'm hoping they'll copy some aspects of that type of model.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, as they called it, they said elevated basics. So even if it's just like, if there's a pink polo, that thing is gone for sure. Like, come on. A pink polo and a backpack, boom, sign me up. Let's go. But yeah, I think that's really cool. I'm excited to see where that goes. It's supposedly has been in the works for a while, so early 2021 is when you can expect to see it start rolling out. Apparently even as soon as late 2020, which would be super exciting. Christmas would be booming if so. Next up, previously in Kicks, this is the part of the show where we review our latest pickups and recap the latest happenings in our sneaker lives. Joel, I know no sneaker pickups, but you had something far larger than that this week.
Oh, yeah, man. Today, I picked up a 2019 Acura ILX premium.
Nice.
So, but yeah, man, I was able to get it. It's on the driveway right now. Can't wait to, mess around with it and stuff like that. So, but yeah, man, it's cool. Super happy, super stoked. Never had anything, close to new. So this would probably be, icing on the cake kind of thing for me.
Is Mare letting you ice it out? Is she letting you go crazy with it, or is that still yet to be determined?
For now, it's still yet to be determined for now. But yeah, she's about it though.
It's a very
I've got
response.
2 things I really want to do, but in due time.
Dump it, bro.
You know it.
Slam that bitch. Let's go.
But yeah, man.
The only thing she's gonna let you do is put a CGS Soul Leaf decal on it. That's probably as far as she can let you go with it.
For real, man.
If that.
Yeah, seriously.
Alvin, anything to report this last week? It's been a while. We're used to doing the two shows a week recently, so there's been less pickups. Anything for you, Alvin?
Not yet. I'm waiting for stuff to come in, but it's just chilling. Oh no, I lie. So for Father's Day, Sasha bought me a pair of Adidas Torsions from Soul Stop.
Nice.
But their size 11 men's is weird, and it fits like a size 9.5.
Send them my
way.
So
I gave them to my dad because you have enough shoes, and you don't have any Adidas in your stack, so I think it would ruin your stack. I thought about this, trust me. So I went on like a boxer brief purchasing binge just to refresh my boxer brief collection, and who was it? Nordstrom had a dope sale. They had some Calvin Klein boxer briefs for like $20 for a 3-pack.
Oh wow, that's really good.
And they also had those, like, you know that new brand Saks?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the nut hugger.
Yeah.
Bro, I never knew why they were so like important until I saw like a diagram of their nut huggers. And I still gotta wash the pair that I got, but like, man, I'm excited to try those out, bro. Like,
Mary got me a pack of those. It's like it's night and day, bro.
Really?
Okay, I'm gonna buy more.
I gotta look into that. They sell them at Sport Check, right?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. I need to try the SAXX, right? For anybody listening.
Yeah.
By the way, previously in Kicks this week has been brought to you by Saks, home of the nut hugger.
Nut hugger.
That's it, man. Nut huggers all day. That's it.
So I don't have any pickups. I don't think I have any pickups to report, but I'm picking up something like huge tonight. Like if Chunky Dunkies is here, what I'm picking up tonight is like here, and you guys can't even see it.
Mags,
but it's like it's off,
mags.
It's off of the screen. No, it's not mags.
You're getting mags, bro.
I would.
It's the mags.
That whole shelf in the back is gonna be gone, and it's just gonna be a box of mags.
I love you guys the most, but if there were mags waiting for me anywhere, I would call you guys up and be like, honestly, I'm sorry, but we got to cancel the podcast tonight. I got to go do something. So next week when we record, I'll have something really good, but I'll probably have to post it before then because I'm very excited about it. Nice. Ryan, any pickups in the last couple of weeks? Once again, I saw you scanning the stacks there to the right-hand side. Anything?
Yeah. So, I've got a few things. So in true dad fashion, I've got 2 pairs of shoes for my kids. Nice. They are still riding the Ultra Boost wave. Don't care what's cool or
nice.
So, they both got the 2.0 triple whites, and then, which by the way, really bad decision is I was like, hey, pick something on GOAT or StockX, and I'll just get it, but here's like your price limit. So they found one pair that was like $140. So I'm like, awesome, cop. The next pair I couldn't get under $260. I waited 2 weeks. So I bought my 12-year-old a $260 pair
of white shoes.
Go up, and I'm like, wasn't gonna be the awful dad that like was not gonna do for one like I did for the other. So that was. And then I got the Brain Dead Reebok Classic Leather that came out last week.
Ooh, nice, bro.
Yeah, I got those. The I don't know if you guys saw End did a collab with Clark's on Wallabies, and there's like a salmon pair.
Yeah.
And they have the tassels on them. I got those also.
Really nice, bro.
Nice.
That's my pickups this last week or so.
Man's gonna be fitted with those Clarks. I like it.
Clarks, Wally's, yo.
You're gonna look so good walking from the bedroom to the kitchen in those, man. It's gonna be insane. You are gonna shit on those horse lamps like crazy. Like they're gonna be like, whoa. They're gonna be like, whoa, Nelly. All right. Next up, thumbs up, thumbs down. In this part of the show, we give our opinion on various sneaker-related topics with zero context or discussion allowed. All we're allowed to say is thumbs up or thumbs down. So this week, inspired by absolutely nothing in particular, my thumbs up, thumbs down topic for you is Gel Light 3s. Because of the split tongue mostly is why it's here. For me, it's a thumbs down. That's it. Joel.
Thumbs up.
Ooh. Alvin.
Down.
I know I did a good job if I can see pain on people's face. Like I saw pain on Ryan's face, saw pain on Alvin's face. Joel answered really confidently, so it's whatever. Ryan, what about you?
So
No,
same
not allowed
reaction
to
as
explain. No explanation.
Oh.
No explanation.
You have to come back. You have to come back.
You have to come back and
Thumbs
explain
up.
later.
Okay, thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the wrong answer, my friend. Next up, NSR, not sneaker related. We talk about sneakers a lot, so in this weekly segment, we're going to take 30 seconds-ish out of the show to discuss something completely irrelevant from the world of sneakers. And it's kind of sneaker related, so it's kind of a bad NSR. But so I was thinking this today, and we kind of all justify our sneaker purchases really well to ourselves and to others. Like, it was $50 off. It is a good deal at $5.50. Like, whatever. Those kinds of things. Like, you're willing to spend good money on sneakers most of the time. What aside from sneakers, what's one other thing that you're always able to justify spending good money on? And what's something you hate spending money on?
All right.
So, Joel, you can go first.
Okay, so for me, things I wouldn't mind spending on would probably be like anything Supreme, like Supreme hats or whatnot. Like I would drop, under $200 or whatever for a hat.
That's a good answer.
And things that would like creak me to like, things that would like make me pinch my pennies would probably be like, maybe like socks or something.
Oh, really?
Like, man, why is this pack of socks like $18? Like, or I'll wait till I get that 40% code, like, and I'll drop like 3 packs of socks or something
For $18 for
yeah,
3 packs.
Yeah.
Alvin, what about you? What's one thing you're always willing to spend good money on, and one thing you hate spending money on?
Yo, I don't mind spending money on good food.
Facts, bro.
Food is, man, like you guys know me. I'm a big boned individual, man. I'm never gonna change. I love my food way too much. But one thing that I like, I'm with Joel though, man. Like I love good quality socks, but I'm not willing to spend good quality money on good quality socks. I'm gonna wait till they're like a full season older and they're like 50% off, and then I'll cop them or something like that. Or I'll go to like Winners and get like the 6-pack for $10 instead of going to Foot Locker and buying a 6-pack for like $30. So, I love my socks, and I love my crew socks, and they have to be comfy, they have to last long, and they have not to have holes in them. But I'm not willing to spend that much on socks for sure.
I feel like I can feel from here Ryan slowly backing out of the conversation as you guys talk about socks, and he's probably sitting there.
Yo,
and
Ryan has some crazy
his
socks,
undercover socks or something. For me, while you think about it, Ryan, give it a second to think, because your answer obviously is going to be socks for what you're willing to spend good money on. For me, what I'm willing to spend good money on, you guys actually mentioned it before, underwear. Like something that I will literally like splurge on. Like I don't care what it costs. Splurge, no pun intended. I will like no matter what, we'll spend the money on it. It's just like, I mean, you wear it every day. Like I'm surprised you guys feel that way about socks, because I don't know if I would. I hate spending money on it, but it's not something that it would be at the bottom of my list for sure, because you wear them every day. Something that I hate spending money on, like with a passion, and maybe it's just weird and I'm a little bit crazy, but it's water. I hate if I'm out and I'm thirsty, I will never in my life buy a bottle of water. I can get it for free anywhere. Why am I paying $2.69 for this 1.5 liters of water when at home it comes out of the tap? I got it filtered here. I got water fountains all over the mall. I hate spending money on water, bottled water. Specifically.
You're still trying to use a water fountain with COVID though?
Not right now. I don't need to go to the mall. I haven't spent money on water in years now. So. Bottled water, hate it. If I'm parched, I'm crawling across the floor in the mall on my way home, I'm like, I will wait. I'm not giving fucking Dasani a penny of my money. Fuck you, Dasani.
Dasani.
Fucking Aquafina, get out of here. All right, Ryan, what about you?
And Lawrence, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
I just asked my kids to get off the internet because it seemed like it was a little slow on mine.
No, yeah, you're good.
So on spend money, I would say kind of overall clothes. So part of it, like with my job, especially now that everything's on Zoom, like the impression I make, so I interact with businesses that we're selling our technology to. So I want to make an impression. And so I tend to try to do that through that. So clothes, I tend to not be that finicky in terms of pricing, whether it's socks, pants, shirts, any of that. Where I'm cheap is cars.
Oh.
So I'm 42. I've had 2 cars in my life that I bought since I was in college. In my current car, I just fixed the mirror, but somebody knocked it off, like the rearview mirror, like maybe 5 years ago, and I didn't even fix it for 5 years. It just dangled for 5 years. So, it's kind of like a badge of courage for me to have, like, I've got a Suburban and it's just trashed, and that's like kind of I don't need to impress you. That's what I tell myself it says. So, yeah, I don't spend any money on cars. Not a car guy.
As Joel talks about picking up his 2019 Acura.
Ryan's a 2010 Suburban.
With a brand new mirror, mind you. So, I mean, you've got a 2020 mirror on that bad boy. Next up, errors, edits, and e-messages. We're pretty smart guys, but from time to time we make mistakes. So if you catch us slipping, hit us in the DM and we'll let the world know that we goofed. And apparently there was actual mistakes last week. We don't make them often. Usually they're just kind-hearted messages from good, wholesome listeners, but this week we had people coming for our throats. First up, from On Air with Mike D from the Sneaker Podcast. He sent in an EEE and said, in response to me saying I could feel Ash Bash Sneakers' muscles all the way across the Pacific Ocean, he said, if El Doggy was to feel Ash's muscles, it would be across the Atlantic Ocean, not the Pacific Ocean. Hashtag Looney Tooney double double. And to that, Mr. Mike D, I say you're quite underselling Ash Bash's muscle size. They actually stretched across the rest of Europe, across Russia, across the Pacific Ocean, across the rest of Canada, all the way into my little home in Brampton, Ontario. So to you, Mike D, I tell you, the world is round, and there are 2 ways to get to England. Speaking of England, the same individual who sent in today's fire round question, Mr. Mark Vinca, says he's a relatively new listener, but he says, keep up the good work. Looking forward to more awesome content and great laughs. And because we gave him some good laughs with some Canadian content last week, he's giving us some British laughs with some weird shit they do in Britain. So he says a 5-pound note can be referred to as a bluey. Guess why?
Bluey.
Guess what? Anyone?
Why?
Because it's blue.
It's blue.
Yep. So
A bluey.
that is
Bluey.
just like
Bluey, bro.
groundbreaking out of there. And then he also gave us the phrase, Chavi took toes. Does anyone have any idea what that means?
No.
Your toes are like chafed, or what?
If any country in the world has a specific saying for chafing toes, they need some baby powder. It means someone ran away.
Oh, true.
Chavi took toes. It means that
Because they didn't have a bluey in it.
They didn't have a bluey.
couldn't afford it, didn't have a bluey. Thank you, Mark
Couldn't afford
Vincer.
a double.
Double.
Really quickly, Ryan, do you know what a double-double is?
No.
No idea?
I was thinking it was an In-N-Out burger.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
That would make sense for sure.
Well, unfortunately, Canada is not even close
it's
to
not.
California.
You don't have
It's what Canadians call a coffee with 2 cream and 2 sugar.
Okay.
Double.
I'm not a coffee drinker, so I did not know that.
You're also not a Canadian, so That's probably more of the reason why you didn't know. Next up, from another good friend of the show, Kieran Knightley. We had a lot of British entries this week. He says, Ashbash said Tasmania as a country that starts with the letter T, but that's actually a state in Australia, not a country.
Oh.
Nice try there, Ashbash. I know Kieran, I believe he used to live in Australia, so we probably deeply offended him with that one, and I want to apologize from all four of us. All five of us, including Ashbash and Ryan. They can be in on that. And finally, so this one's long. Everyone strap in. It's from previous guest from a couple weeks ago, Mike Takorda. And he has three separate EEEs he wants to let us know about. So if you'll remember when he was on, we said the wrong episode number, which is probably the worst EE we can really have. He says, I heard about the flack you took for whether it was the correct episode number and went back to the recording. So he did his research here. He's pulling out receipts. And he says on what appears as recording 121 on everyone's app, it was our Black Lives Matter Solidarity episode where we said this is not an episode. But because it's on the app, it has to have an episode. We can't just tell iTunes this is not an episode. So it did say that. So that's where the confusion was. So he says, in my opinion, this was not a podcast episode as you did not have your regular segments or have a guest, but a released statement. So technically saying it was episode 121 was indeed correct. Maybe your lawyer listener in the UK can decide this matter once and for all. So please, if you're listening to this highbrow sneakers, let us know. Number 2. Because, like I said, there's 3. 21 questions, question number 18 specifically. He says, elephant print versus cement print, ? Can you clarify which shoes have the cement print? Is there actually a cement print? My understanding from one of Sean Collard's explanations is that cement on the Jordan 3s is the colorway on the outsole, but the print that covers the toe and heel is the elephant print. Just want to keep learning. Thanks. So Sean Collard, when I asked Sean Collard that question, he said it on our podcast. He said, cement is not a print. And we got into a big fight. There was blows thrown. It was crazy. To me, on Jordan 4 white cement, the gray with the black and white speckling is cement print. I know that on a Jordan 3, like we'll say black cement describes the gray elephant print, but there can be cement print. That's my understanding. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree with that statement or not. Sean Collard says that I'm wrong, so I mean, my opinion.
I'm with Sean.
You're with Sean?
Yeah.
It's not a print?
It's cement is the color, and it has speckles on the cement. Now, I used to agree with you until I heard Sean Collard give that explanation before. I'm showing deference to Sean in my conclusion, but once I heard his explanation, that makes the most sense.
But can you not have, like, it can be a printed print, literally, like Galaxy print is a print. It's a design similar to cement print. Like, you can have that same on the Jordan 4 outsole on something else. Right. And you'll call it cement. Like, isn't there a white cement Jordan 6 or Jordan 5? There's a white cement Jordan 5, and it's relatively recent. It has the same speckling on the outsole as the Jordan 4. It's the same color inspiration, and it's got that quote unquote print. I call it a print because that's what it. I mean, that's what it is. It's a way to describe. I don't know.
Wouldn't it be fair to say though that it looks like a speckle and really doesn't look like cement at all, Lawrence? So perhaps your thought process around what cement looks like is kind of off.
Well, here's the thing. I'm speaking from a Canadian perspective on cement. Maybe what you're thinking of is asphalt, which is slightly different, and typical polished cement does have a distinctive look to. Okay, we're talking about cement print too much here.
And I don't want to bring up that in reality, elephant print looks more like cement than what you're calling cement print. So we can just let it move on.
That's honestly probably the best point that's been made thus far. You're not wrong about that. And that was very long. But EE number 3, his last one, and this one was the worst one. I called him by the wrong Instagram name for the majority of the episode. So, first of all, I never got a chance to apologize, but I want to apologize for that. He says, last but not least, my IG name, which was inspired by Alvin, by the way, is jump in with both feet. He says, I shouted out a homeschooling mother of 4 when you said jump in with 2 feet. Not both feet, 2 feet. So he says, hope she got some more followers out of it. But if you want her on the pod, you can find her at www.jumpinwith2feet.com, which is a real website. The thing is, I realized afterwards when I looked it up, and in the actual podcast name, it's the right name. Just for the entire length of the podcast, I used the wrong one. But that week was just, it was bad. There was like a tornado outside and I was distracted. It was really quite a spectacle. Anyways, the moment, that's all. Thank you, Mike, for the 3-part EEE, probably the longest we've ever had. You hold the record. Here's your gold star. Next up, the part of the show that every single person has been waiting for, mostly Ryan Swanger. It's time for 21 questions. And Ryan, how this works is you have 21 seconds to answer 21 questions. No, I'm just kidding. It's like your own mini personal fire round. There are questions about you to get to know you a little bit better. Just the first answer that comes to your head. As we say, there are no right answers, but there are also no wrong answers. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Question number 1, red or blue?
Blue.
Question number 2, air or boost?
Air.
Question number 3, pineapple on pizza?
Never.
Ooh. Well, 21 questions is over. Did you say trash? I'll have you know, and I'll say this every week, Hawaiian pizza was invented by a Canadian.
I use jalapenos on my pizza, dude. That's it.
Jalapenos only?
Yeah.
You have
That's what I eat.
bread, cheese, and jalapenos.
Yes, sir.
All right, Texas. Anyways. And barbecue sauce, right? And pulled pork. And Question number 4, crew socks or no shows?
Crew socks.
Question number 5, favorite New Balance model?
992.
Yeah, I think you did mention that actually. Number 6, what is 30 degrees Celsius converted into Fahrenheit?
I'm going to guess like 90 degrees. I have no idea. I've never used Celsius in my life.
Close, 86. And that's a shame you've never used Celsius because it actually makes sense.
Why did you cut me off when I was 4 degrees? I said 90 minus 4 degrees. Keep going.
4 degrees there is literally nothing, and 4 degrees here is the difference between like ice storm and going on vacation. Like it's insane. Question number 7, favorite sneaker you've purchased in the last year?
In the last year, I'm sorry to be so boring, but I think I'm going to stick with the gray 992s.
That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Honestly, when you started with boring, I thought you were going to say Solomon, so I'm glad that it was at least a brand that we recognize.
The hookah.
The
No,
Haka.
that's this year.
Oh, that wasn't this year. Number 8, what influenced your current style, or who?
I try to have personal style to the extent that I can. I would say there's one particular group. Can I say a group influence?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a fashion pod that I also listen to called Throwing Fits. And a lot of the guys that listen to that post fits on Fridays and stuff like that. And so I'd say if I'm inspired by anything, it's seeing, some of the personal styles, because a lot of that group is all about having a rather unique personal style. And so I'd say like that group influences me probably more than anything else.
That's a really good podcast name. Holy shit.
Throwing Fits is great.
That's really well done. Number 9, spell color.
COLOR, not OU.
That is incorrect, my friend. The Queen would beg to differ, my friend.
I thought I didn't think you said spell color. So I
color.
Oh man, spell neighbor.
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 Favorite.
Favorite. Sorry, we have a little bit more culture.
We're going to recap the audience right now, but I will say whenever as you know, Lawrence, I've been selling to a company up in Toronto, and I have to convert all of my PowerPoints to that language whenever I go up there, and it's such a pain in the ass. But when you don't, you're like, oh, this dumb American guy thinks he's going to sell us technology, and so I got to meticulously through and fix it all.
The fact that you just said convert it to your language is the most American thing I may have ever heard in my entire life.
100% guilty. To be clear, I'm aware of the irony in me saying that. It was purposeful.
I am aware, but at the same time, still unimpressed. Number 10, most expensive shoe you've ever purchased. You don't have to say the purchase price, just the actual shoe.
The most expensive, actually, it would be was it 1953 Gucci loafers? I think are the most expensive. Oh, no. I have Alexander McQueen velvet slippers, by far the most expensive shoe I've bought.
Like slippers as in like walking to the kitchen slippers or like slides?
No, like tuxedo slippers.
Oh, okay, got it.
Like to wear with a suit, that kind of thing. They got like the skull and crossbones on them. Ooh. And when Lee, the designer that founded Alexander McQueen, when he died, I bought those. It was my favorite designer, and I bought those. I don't know, like in an emo move, and that was definitely the most I've ever spent on shoes at all.
In an emo move, I spent several $1,000s on slippers. My emo moves are eating a whole bag of chips. And question number 11. What is the square root of 81?
9.
That is correct. Wow. Number 12. In America, milk comes in cartons. What does it come in Canada?
Boxes?
Bags.
What? I have no idea. What do you mean a bag?
It's a bag. It's a bag, and you put it in a holder, and you snip off the top corner there, and you just pour it out.
I had no idea.
A liter of milk. Yep. And it comes in packs of 3. You buy a big bag of bags of milk.
All right, got it. All right.
I'll send you a picture. I'll send you a picture after of my bag of milk just for you to look at after this. Question number 13, original boxes or drop fronts?
I use drop fronts. Can I add a third option?
Sure.
I want to move to shelves.
Okay.
So, I'm like, I've broken so many drop front doors, and I wear like between a 12 and a 13, and if they have a big midsole, they don't fit in the drop fronts. And so like the 997S from New Balance doesn't fit.
Yeah, it's a big.
Yeah. So, I want to put in like shelving, and I keep my shoes in my home office, I kind of want to do more of a shelving thing at some point.
Like the loose shoes just sitting on the shelves?
No, like I want to do it where there's like, you got, I guess it'd really be more like drawers. So like you have a drawer for each with glass, so you can see the shoes, pull out the drawer, and then do like all the walls, like build them into the walls, so it's flat like it's wall, but it's sneakers for your wall instead of.
Wow,
that's crazy.
The fact that that's
and that's the real fire route.
Yo, we need Ryan to record that, bro.
For real. That was at least a 4 out of 10. That was good.
I'm so nervous to do it.
That was perfect, bro. Don't listen to Lawrence.
He's been thinking about it for 45 minutes. Like, when am I going to be able to slip this in?
It's so totally.
Question number 14. What are 3 sneakerheading essentials? You can take that question however you want.
All right. 3 sneakerheading essentials. All right. I'd say number 1 essential is buy stuff that you want to wear. I think second is set a price before the shoe releases of what you will pay for the shoe.
That's really good.
That has served me so well. And the third one I'd say is if you're, I'm going to add a caveat to this one, but if you really want to collect, think about what's the right strategy for you financially for that. And this is a little bit different. So like for me, I reached a point where I'm like, I don't want to spend more of my budget on shoes. So I always sell to buy at this point.
Right.
I don't ever use money for shoes for the last couple of years, 3 years. And so like, but I think you got to figure out what makes you feel good about it. But now every time I get a shoe, I don't ever think about did I spend like, am I spending too much on shoes? Cause it's like, it's a sunk cost from years ago that at this point, I care less. So I think if you find those things and you can really like sink your teeth into it, not have this kind of push-pull of like, am I doing the right thing?
We're going to expand on that a little later because I did want to get into that whole way that you go about buying sneakers. Yeah, I remember you telling me that when we went for dinner a couple of years ago. So I did want to talk about that a little bit more in a bit. Number 15, what is the capital city of Canada?
Oh, no, I thought it was Toronto, and I know I'm wrong now, aren't I? Is it Ottawa?
It is Ottawa.
Let's go.
Wow, well done. Very well done. That was a close one. I thought you were going to say some random place, like, I don't know. Number 16.
I know for sure it's not Calgary. Calvi. It's not Calgary.
It's not Calgary. Calby is the capital of Calgary, though. That's an interesting fact.
Nice.
Number 16, Dunks or Air Forces?
Air Forces.
Number 17, Apple or Android?
Apple.
Number 18, apples or bananas?
Bananas.
Number 19,
Apples are.
what is the most valuable company in the world?
Amazon.
It is Saudi.
It's Apple?
Saudi Aramco. They're worth
All right, that was a stupid question, Lawrence.
1.685. It was to make you guess Apple, and you did it, so you're the stupid one.
You actually totally win on that response. Good job.
Actually. Number 20. What is your number 1 Grail?
Mars Yard. 2.0 Mars Yards.
2.0 Mars Yard. Okay.
2.0.
No, wait. You guys said it can't be a Grail if you already have it, right?
Oh, it can be. I think it can be.
Can be. Yeah, it can be.
Okay, yeah. I mean, because there's literally right now nothing that I like desire to get that I don't have, so I'm gonna stick with Mars Yard 2.0.
Must be a nice feeling. Number 21. Would you rather receive your number 1 Grail, but I guess you already have it, or 3 other pairs from your top 10? So if you had to choose.
I would go with 3 other pairs from my top 10 because for me, the sneakers, I do fit then sneakers, not sneakers then fit. And so if I have 3 that I really like, then there's more fits I can wear with those 3.
That's
true.
A really good way to look at it.
Yep.
All right, Ryan.
The more you know.
So it's story time now. We call this segment your soulography. This is where we get to know kind of what makes you tick in the sneaker world, your history in sneakers in general. And it's going to start off with what got you into sneakers in the first place.
So originally it was track. So I still to this day I've kind of run more or less since junior high. And my junior high track shoes were Gel Light 3s. And right around then I had Air Max 1s. And in high school, somehow I ran in Air Max 95s, which I don't understand.
Wow.
Hype beast.
But so I was in sneakers for running for the first 15 years. I was in it for running, not for like lifestyle.
So it started with you being athletic, and now you're still athletic, but it has nothing to do with sneakers. Interesting.
Ridiculously so. Yeah.
Ridiculously so. Well, you're training a couple of future NBA ball players, so it's got to come from somewhere, right?
Yeah, totally.
So what's your kind of timeline like? So you started with the track runners, and you said it took a while to actually get into lifestyle stuff. But what was kind of the transition like, and where did it kind of go? I know that even just from knowing you for a couple of years now, I've seen your style change like the weather. It seems like it's seasonal. So where does it kind of go? Yeah. I know that there's obviously micro changes, but what's the macro looking like?
Yeah, so for me, my style relates to my career. You know, I kind of alluded to that a little bit earlier. So, you know, my career enables me, and a lot of you that listen that I've interacted with know, like, I'm kind of, dad's a big thing for me. I didn't grow up having my dad at home, and so that's like a huge thing for me to be a big part of my kids' lives. And so down from that is job, and then way down from that is kind of everything else. And so, because the job enables me to give them opportunities and stuff. And so I kind of evolved. In the tech world, it's not exactly known for fashion and style, right? If you think of the Mark Zuckerberg Caesar cut and the like. Even though it's kind of stylish for like Jack Dorsey at Twitter, like wears all the Rick Owens stuff, but he looks like a little off for Rick Owens stuff. But so I've always used fashion to create an identity for my company's business in the tech space. And so like when I go speak at conferences or go meet with clients, I want them to remember me as not being the guy that's in like navy blazer, wide as F, khakis, and like basic shoes. And so whatever like the trends are at the time, I try to pivot away from that so that I can kind of stand out. And as it goes back to sneakers, like I was wearing in the like, let's call it like 2005 to 2014 range, I really kind of moved where outside of running, I was mainly wearing hard bottom shoes and like the whole, suits and ties and Mad Men and all that kind of stuff. I was more going kind of down that path. And then I'd say around roughly like 2014 is that like, I remember exactly what happened is there was a Banana Republic times Mad Men collaboration. And I was like, I'm out 100% now. Like that's way too Gen Pop in terms of that look. And so that's when I really shifted into streetwear as what I wear at work. So I had a time period where I was going to like business meetings in like t-shirts, jeans, and sneakers. And people are like, what the hell are you doing? And everybody else is in a suit and tie. But it made an impression, and I felt like it was good. I'd say in the last couple of years, as I felt like that got to be more commonplace, then I've kind of shifted to more cut and sew clothing. Still wearing a lot of sneakers, but some like loafers and Clarks, like I was mentioning. It really just those types of shoes mainly, not like lace-up dress shoes and stuff. But I've brought some of that back in to my wardrobe. Did that answer your question, or did I get on a tangent?
No, yeah, definitely. No. I mean, okay, you've told me that before, and one thing that really stood out, I think it might have also been the first time I met you. I was like, this guy's a fucking freak. He was like, you said that the whole T-shirt to the business meeting thing, just to like freak them out. But you also said like, bro, I'll show up to a multi-million-dollar business meeting in a hoodie, and I'll still kill that shit. And that's like. I think that was like verbatim, and I was like, that's how to live your life, bro. Like, that's literally how to do it.
Yeah, in my space, if you look like you're not the typical business guy, then you got to really know your shit, right? And I've been with this business for 20 years, so I know what we do pretty well, and so I'm like, hey, challenge us. Let us show you what we can do. And yeah, wearing a hoodie, you're either the weirdo Caesar cut Zuckerberg or you're impressive. So I try to err on the side of it.
As long as you're not also showing up in like thong sandals, I think you can still probably win them over. Yeah, that might be the deal breaker if you had
Agreed.
So I feel like I know what the answer is going to be, but what's kind of keeping you into sneakers now that it's evolving, it's getting more mainstream? As you mentioned, the whole Gen Pop thing, like sneakers is like the epitome of Gen Pop right now. What's keeping you in it still now to this day?
So, I've noticed my current appreciation is different than it was a year or two ago, especially 2 or 3 years ago, I'd say. But for me, like, I like to wear something that I think is really cool, especially if it's not popular, which I guess goes with what I said earlier. If it's something that's not the cool thing to wear, I definitely feel good about that. The most type of shoes I bought in the last year are 100% gray New Balance. I was just looking to see. I have almost 36 pairs of different gray New Balance.
Subtle flex.
Yeah, a little bit of flex there.
But if you think about it, like most people can't tell one from the other. But I really appreciate that, and I really, like knowing the history of all the models and all that. So, like, if something's really popular for the most part, that's not going to catch my attention right now. The other thing for me is, like, the old Air Maxes that I have, which I know you guys appreciate. Like, those to me are just always cool, and regardless of whether Air Maxes are in. So it's more to me like I feel a lot less pressure than I've ever felt around sneakers, if that makes sense. Like, I feel basically zero peer pressure in 2020, which is a good, like, that's where you want to be, I think.
Yeah. Like, I was gonna mention just that. Like, I've seen your style switch a lot, even just like I said, since I've known you, and you were sometimes in the hype shit like a couple years ago, but it seems like now, in the nicest way possible, you wear shit that I have no idea what it is, and it's cool, like in a good way. Like before, you used to break out like an Off-White Presto or a Mars Yard or something else that was newish from time to time, but I don't think I've seen you post a mainstream sneaker in a year.
Yeah, no, it doesn't really fit with what appeals to me. And it's a good place. And in general, other than what I mentioned with the 992s, it's a lot cheaper to be in that place, especially with the prices right now. I'm not somebody that really thinks that I want to spend that much on sneakers, so it worked for me.
You, of all people that I know, I feel like you have like the highest sneaker closet, shout out to Sneaker Closet, turnover that I know of. Like, I feel like you just like rotate through stuff. And I know you have a very healthy collection, but I also know that you rotate through a lot of stuff. Is that something that you do purposely? Like, is there a set limit? Like, obviously you have your stuff in drop fronts. Is it literally just as many drop fronts as you have? Because a lot of people, it seems like there's two sides to this now. There's the collectors who have stacks and stacks and stacks and feel nostalgic and don't want to get rid of shit. And there's the newer collectors who have a 5-pair rotation and they're getting through stuff. You're kind of somewhere in the middle where you have a healthy collection, but you're also steadily updating it and rotating through it. Is that by design?
Yeah, in a way, yeah. So it's at least once a month I go through my whole collection and I'm like, have I worn this in the last several months, and do I think I'll wear this in the next several months? And my conclusion here, I'm trying to think ahead if this conclusion is like snobby or something. I hope not. But my way of looking at it is, if I'm not going to wear it anytime soon, I should sell it and get something I do want to wear, and then like, in general, because I don't have anything that's so rare that I could never find it again. So I'm like, if I decide I want it later, I'll just go back and buy it. That's the part I didn't want to come off as like arrogant about that. But like, I don't have a ton of shoes that are super expensive. So I'm like, I could find it. And if I was dying for it, I'll sell 5 pairs and get it with that money. So I don't ever feel pressure around selling a pair. And generally, for me, I enjoy a new shoe more than I enjoy a shoe I've had a long time, generally speaking. There are exceptions, and so like going through, cycling through that, to me just feels better. It feels less of a expenditure of my money on that versus other stuff I want to spend it on.
No, absolutely. And yeah, like I said, you're one of the few people that I can think of that actually lives by that. And it's an interesting way to think about it, because then you really liked it if you sold it and then wanted it so much to go back and buy it again. So it's definitely like, I'm a big fan of that. So last week we
one thing
go ahead.
Real quick before you go on, that it was just occurring to me is I don't think that there's a single pair that I wouldn't sell if somebody else wanted it.
Wow.
And that kind of occurred to me. I'm like, that's kind of a different than maybe how some people think about them, but in a way, if you think about the community and like a lot of people that I consider friends, because I'm not like super social, excuse me, a lot of them I've met through sneakers. And so to me, the idea of like selling to somebody else that's like, that's the shoe I always wanted, is way cooler than me keeping something I wear once a year. So
True.
Guys, Alvin, Joel, I fucking love the guests we get on here. Like, they have the best fucking mindset.
Yeah,
This is beautiful. That's the nicest thing I've probably ever heard. Your girlfriend's Canadian past must be rubbing off on you, because that's really nice.
totally.
So last week with Ash Bash, we played a game that we've been playing for the last couple quarantine weeks called Can You Name 5? And essentially how the game works is you have 20 seconds to name 5 things under the topic given, but we're going to do it specifically related to Canada, mostly just so we can laugh at you. So I'm going to give you a topic, and then you have to name 5 things that will fall under that topic in 20 seconds. You understand the rules? They're pretty basic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, go ahead.
So the first thing, and they're similar to last week, but harder because I know you're a really smart guy. The first one, can you name 5 Canadian provinces that border the USA?
Quebec.
Yes.
Is Alberta a province?
Yeah, that's one. Yep.
Yeah.
I believe there's only 2 provinces in Canada, Lauren. I just,
Quebec, Alberta.
Final answer.
I have no idea.
Contrary to popular belief, it was not a trick question.
Okay.
Well, first of all, we live in Ontario, so that's an answer.
Okay.
You could have said British Columbia, beautiful British Columbia.
Yeah, I knew that one, but didn't think it touched America, so that was just a geography.
Well, it touches America on both sides, actually, because you guys have that little sliver of Alaska hiding up there. You could have also said hard to pronounce and spell Saskatchewan.
Okay, yep.
That's a real place. I know you were looking around like waiting for us to laugh, like it wasn't a real place.
No, now that you say it, I recall that.
Manitoba, yeah. So there are several more than the ones you named, but 2 out of 5 is half decent. Well, I'm sure we can only go up from here. So the second one, can you name 5 Canadian music artists or rappers? 20 seconds.
Okay. Drake, Justin Bieber, Snow.
Oh, Snow.
Is Michelle Branch from Canada?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to fact check
Making
it.
my way down on that one. Okay. She seems Canadian, and
Seems Canadian.
She seems Canadian.
Positive and uplifting. Another Canadian.
She's not Canadian, by the way.
So I'm going to say Tiny Tempa and leave because I don't know.
Tiny Tempa. Oh boy. I mean, you didn't say Celine Dion, which is a travesty.
Shania Twain.
Shania Twain. I mean, the list goes on, really. The Weeknd.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
I said it could only go up from the first one, but I'm not going to say it again. All right, we got one more for you. They're getting progressively easier, I think. So you have a chance to redeem yourself here. I know, as you mentioned, you're one of the most athletic people on the planet. So this one should be easy. You have 20 seconds. Can you name 5 Canadian sports teams? Go.
Maple Leafs, Blue Jays, Calgary Flames, Vancouver Canucks, Ottawa Senators.
There we go. Nice.
Nice.
I like. Was that the Luka fan in you not wanting to name the Toronto Raptors? Was that on purpose or?
What sport are they, Lauren?
Sorry?
What sport are they in?
They're in Oh my goodness. I almost answered it honestly. I remember last year having a lengthy debate with you about the championship and how the Warriors are trash, and you said there's an asterisk, and I said, well, then you guys have a fucking line of asterisks, and then you didn't talk to me for 6 months, and it was a big thing.
I still have my Casey McGrady Raptors jersey though that I got when the Raptors.
That was I remember that we made the bet. Yes, and you had to buy a Raptor jersey. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Got it.
That's right. Yeah. That was last year when you watched the first game of the Eastern Conference Finals with us against the Bucks. And we were up like 15, and all of a sudden they just started coming back, and you were like, "Oh shit!" Like, I felt like I could feel Ryan feeling our stress because we were with Hardy Girl and Lays, and it was a little bit stressful especially for their first time meeting Ryan. I'm sure that wasn't the impression they wanted to give off. All right, so you did all right, I guess, during Can You Name 5? You got 1 out of 3, so that's not that good, but it's not that bad. So, among other things, you're a sneakerhead, model, rapper, cowboy, but among all those things, first, you're a dad, as you mentioned before. How has being a father kind of changed your view on sneaker collecting or sneakers in general?
So I didn't really have an impact when my kids were younger. So I have twin boys that are 12. They just turned 12 in June. Now that there's so much stuff we can do together, it definitely impacts my point of view because there's so much stuff that we can do that I enjoy in like their moments that they're starting to like spend more time with their friends. I know the window of them wanting to do all this stuff with me is heading towards closing.
Yeah.
And so, I'm much more focused right now on experiences. And with the quarantine in particular, it's just like spending time together. Mm-hmm. So like my StockX time and all that stuff, reading about new releases is pretty much all shifted during quarantine to like us doing stuff together. So I think right now in particular, it's made sneakers less relevant for me. Not irrelevant or anything like that. It's just, kind of prioritizing the things that have the biggest impact on my happiness.
Well, I mean, that makes me want to thank you even more for being here because you took the hour and a bit to talk to us. You even made them turn off Fortnite because it was slowing down the internet, which is...
No. They texted me back and said, Dad, we have hotspots on our cell phones, so we're going to run our Xboxes off our hotspot, so don't worry.
Oh, shit.
Like, you asshole.
Before we panic, I'm pretty sure every carrier in the States has unlimited data, so it's not a worry for them as much as it is for us with 10 gigs on our plans.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and that's a big plan. 10 gigs is like, whoa, you have 10 gigs? Yes. So, but anyways, I digress. Are they into sneakers at all? Like, and do you want them to be into sneakers at all? Like you mentioned, you just bought them Ultra Boosts, all white.
Yeah.
Is that something you want them to pursue?
Their friends are all into that. I'm into sneakers, which makes them not want to have the coolest sneakers. Which I totally get. So anytime I'm like, hey guys, pick out anything you want on StockX. I want to get you something like as a special treat. And they're always like, no, Dad, I got to get GRs. I don't want to have anything where people, because I think their friends are always like, oh, I bet you get the coolest sneakers or whatever. One of the, just side note, one of my best plugs is high school kids here sell me sneakers that they get, as they're trying to become resellers and stuff. And so I'm like the dad on the resale market for sneakers. And so like I'm still their dad. To them, I'm not cool sneaker guy. I'm dad. And so they tend to gravitate towards more of like the stuff you can get at Foot Locker. Other than, like I said, they like Ultra Boost, like the older Ultra Boost, but they've been wearing those since they originally came out, so that's just kind of the thing that they like.
We'll make sure to try and edit out the part where you said a high school kid is my plug. We'll figure out a way. Maybe we'll edit it. I don't want the FBI knocking at your we'll just. So, anyways.
More add something to that though that'll make it seem more weird, actually. But I recently got a pair, and I mean, I mean this in the best way. Like, he wrote me a thank you note for buying sneakers from him.
That's cute.
So that is my resale world, is where you get stationary thank you notes for buying sneakers. I'm like, what a polite young gentleman.
Amazing, bro.
He must have been from Canada. That doesn't sound like a Texas. That's not a Texas thing. So last week we spent a lot of time with Ash Bash because we were so curious talking about the sneaker community in general in Europe, because to us it's so foreign, literally and figuratively foreign. And kind of the same thing with the States. Like the States, growing up in the sneaker community in Canada is always like this mythical creature. Like you always talk about it like, oh, I think in the States they get this. Oh, in the States I heard they do this. Oh, they like this in the States. Oh, that style came from the States. Oh, in the States they wear foams. So like whatever it is, a lot of the Canadian influence, whether we like it or not, comes from you guys. But like, what's the community kind of like? You mentioned you're buying shoes from high school kids, so it must be semi-strong. But overall, like, whether it be just Texas or locally even more down to like Dallas, or if you expand it more to like just the US, what's it kind of like for you down there in the sneaker community?
Yeah, so it's definitely in the US, I'd say there's kind of, I guess, 3 tiers. The first tier is like New York, LA, and kind of Chicago. And they get all the, tons of stuff that we don't get. Like when I've listened to the sneaker podcast, they'll talk about how you guys in Toronto get stuff, right, that they don't get in Montreal.
Don't listen to that podcast. It's not that good.
It's kind of the same thing here. Like if you're not in New York, LA, or Chicago, then there's a lot of stuff that doesn't come out. Now, the next tier down would be, like your San Francisco. Dallas is like, I think the 5th or 6th largest city in the U.S., so pretty big. Miami, I'd say there's like 10 or so cities there at that second tier. So like to give you an example, we have Sneaker Politics is here. We have a store called Center, which is Dallas centric, and then we have a couple of resale shops. Nothing like what you guys have at OD and stuff like that, but a couple of resale shops here as well. So you can get stuff. Now, if you're outside of Nike and Adidas, then there is nothing that comes out here. So any of my New Balance, Asics, Solomon, none of those I can buy here. I have to buy everything online for that. What I will say, though, is like especially since Sneaker Politics has come in here, there's been a lot more community built around that store. I think they do a really great job of like for a lot of shoes that are coming out, they'll do like contests where you come in and play cornhole or beer pong, different stuff, and then if you win, then you'll ticket kind of thing. And just the guys have done a great job of like reaching out to the community. So it's not just like a retail store, like it's a community-based retail store, which to me is the future of the sneaker retail, is like having those like relationships in the community. The other thing I'd say is like even in a city like Dallas, I probably have met maybe 50 people roughly through sneakers that if I see them, I would always talk to them, pick up a conversation. So that and I'm pretty like I'm not an overly social person. That's a lot. So I would say it's pretty healthy. Now, you definitely have your people in your 30s and up, and then people in the 20s that have different priorities around like what they're going after. But I'd say overall, like it's pretty cool to see how that's grown over the last 5 years. 5 years ago, like we got Yeezys in Jordans, and that was kind of the only things we got that was limited release kind of stuff. So it's evolved a lot.
Well,
so I did a little bit of research. The population of Canada, the entire country, is 37 million people. 37 million people. The population of Texas is 29 million people.
Yeah.
Oh man,
yeah. Texas.
Wow.
Texas. If you're listening, as much as it doesn't sound like it is smaller than the country of Canada. But I feel like in Canada, I don't know if it's because it's such a young community or not, but we have a really tight-knit sneaker community. Like you can go Toronto even as a micro and it's still quite tight-knit here, and then you can expand even further, and we've got like several friends in other provinces, like several thousand kilometers away that we've never even met, but we're still super close with, and like still have that tight-knit kind of feeling, and it seems really strong. Do you have that similar tight-knit feeling in the US? Like you can go Dallas or you can go even further, but like you can extend it through Canada, and I would say that most people would think that Canada has a really tight-knit and small community. Does it feel that way in a country that has such a large population?
Nationally, not at all. I wouldn't say nationally it does. There's just too many people. to me, it's more city and regional based for the most part. Now, like there are exceptions. So, as an example, like some of the different podcast shows, I've met people on, and I've gotten to know people on those shows, but I don't really know other than people I interact with on Instagram, and there's some of them that I've gotten to talk to quite a bit over time. But most of the people I actually like know and I've developed friendships with are here locally, I'd say.
Okay.
Now, although I will say I've seen so this is probably some of my introvert. I've noticed that at some of the sneaker cons in the U.S. that people from all different parts will get together and pre-plan stuff. So there probably is a little bit more of that. But being a dad and like with my job, my weekends are like really precious. So I don't go to a lot of sneaker con or sneaker types of events. So I personally haven't seen that, but I do think there's some of that, but probably not to the extent of you guys, just because there's so many people. You can kind of build a whole friend set within your own city kind of thing, and it kind of stays at that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I just want to know, because I think that Canadians have this perception of the American sneaker community just as a whole, whether it be positive or negative, just a certain way that we look at it. And I don't know if we think it's like it's a little bit of jealousy because we think you guys get everything. It's a little bit of looking to you guys for style influence because, I mean, we're still, even though we're significantly larger in size, I still feel like Canada sees itself as a little brother to America. I want to know, what's the perception of American sneakerheads that have of Canadian sneakerheads, if there even is one? Like, I do feel like in the nicest way, Americans would be like, Canada, I don't even care. I don't know. Like, is there even are we worth a perception to you guys?
Yeah. So I would describe two sides of it if I could.
Yeah.
So one side of it, I described from my personal experience. I personally have a really strong affinity because think about the last question we just discussed. I would say the most people I've gotten to know like in a personal level outside of Dallas is Canada. So, and that, if you think about that, that's pretty crazy.
Yep.
And so for me personally, I love the Canadian sneaker community. I found you guys to be so embracing and much more like at a human level than a sneaker level. Most of the conversations I have with Canadians about within the space are more about us as people and less about the sneakers themselves, which to me says a lot. I would say overall, you probably would get a little bit more of American sentiment of like, all right, they're like, they just go for hype stuff, whatever. Like they don't have the nuances that we have here in America and all these micro trends and all that would probably be the general impression. But that individuality that we are confident about sometimes doesn't help us with things like wearing masks and staying at home. Not necessarily always a benefit. But I think there's a lot of American pride. So I guess there's probably some element of that. But what I would say is I would have a hard time thinking that any Americans in the sneaker space that got to know Canadians wouldn't be like, oh, like that's the kind of people I really want to get to know through the community. I've thoroughly enjoyed, my experience and getting to know you guys for sure.
I'm so glad, albeit close to the end of the episode, we were able to throw in, please, America, wear a mask and stay the fuck home. Like in the nicest, most polite Canadian way possible. If Ryan Swanger being on this podcast has lured you in and we tricked you somehow, wear a fucking mask and stay home, Like, that's all I got to say.
Yeah, go ahead, Lawrence.
I'm sure that neither of us have anything positive to say about the subject, so we'll move on. Ryan, I appreciate you being here. We all appreciate you being here. As we mentioned, it was so long overdue, and I feel like we could keep going on for several more hours. But you have a couple of kids who are probably like whispering swear words at strangers, and they just want to belt them at the top of their lungs. So we won't keep you for too much longer. But we've been ending every show recently with a frontline worker shout out, just somebody who's been out there on the front lines, whether it be a healthcare worker or just somebody who's working at a grocery store, helping save the world and helping protect everybody. So this week we were sent in a message, and Crystal D on Instagram nominated her husband, Alfred Dularte, I'm going to pronounce it wrong. Alfred D. At Mr.Deadstock on Instagram. So she nominated him. He's a nurse. She says he's a nice nurse, handsome, and he's my husband. And I mean, I don't know which of those is most important to her, but they all sound pretty important to me. So thank you, Mr. Deadstock. There's not many more jobs right now, more dangerous, but also more rewarding than being a nurse. So we appreciate you and we thank you. Ryan, we appreciate you and we thank you as well. Hopefully the next time recording will be in person somewhere, whether it be tropical or whether it be snowing up in Toronto, but we hope to have you back super soon.
Yeah, and do you mind if I say one thing before we close out?
Yeah, please.
So I'm one of the other guys in the sneaker community, so hopefully there's some sort of like a perspective I get from that. And I was thinking about tonight, like, is there anything that I wanted to get across? So there's one thing that's really important to me. So I thought, hey, I'm on this podcast, I'll share it. The most impactful thing I've experienced in life is getting to know all different types of people. And there's so much like divisiveness going on right now. And just for what it's worth, because I know that a lot of people in sneakers are younger, et cetera, the more you meet people that are different than you and have different perspectives than you, the happier and more joyous and your life will be. And so that's my advice as the old guy, dad, listening to this, like meet people that like don't make any sense to you or can't share any commonality. You're going to find things you never could discover otherwise. And so take that away. And I hope that rewards people well.
Yep.
I mean, that's why you're on here, because we don't understand you. Thank you, Ryan. We love you. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, bro.
We miss you. We hope to see you soon. Thank you to everyone who has supported and or been a part of the podcast. Wherever you're taking in the episode, please leave a comment, review, follow, and or subscribe. We've got a Facebook group used as a forum, sell stuff, and connect with you guys called CGS Talk. You can find it on facebook.com/groups/CGS.talk. We've also got a website we use for reviews, recap stories, and much, 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 much more called canada.sold.ca. If you have any questions or suggestions for any of our segments like the Soul Pull, Sneakerheading for Dummies, or the Fire Round, shoot us a DM or email us at canada.soul@gmail.com. Of course, do not forget to use hashtag Canada.Soul on Instagram for a feature. I've been Lawrence Hopkins. You can find me at LDoggyStyles on Instagram. Woof.
I'm Joel Hernandez. You can find me at Joe Dooney, JO_D3OsNEY.
My name is Alvin Quincy, and you can find me at MISTERQ and then Mart.
Big man Ryan, where can they find you?
Ryan Swanger is my name, but Ryan Swanger is my alias, and you can find me at Ryan SWANGER.
Not Swinger.
On Instagram.
Swanger.
That's right.
Yeah? Make sure that everybody notices the difference. Thank you for listening to us talk about sneakers for 126 episodes, and please remember to rock your kicks. This has been True to Size. We have been CGS and Ryan Swinger, and we are out. Peace.
Peace.
Ryan, that was really fun. Thank you.
Right, thank you, bro.
Thank you, brother.
So much, man.
Yeah,
I loved it as well. Was that okay with what I said at the end, guys?
No, absolutely, yeah.
Oh, that's perfect, bro.
That was awesome,
And like,
man.
if you don't stand for something, like you're not really a man, and that's something really important to me. So I
Super
appreciate
facts, bro.
Yeah, let me share that.
No.
Inclusivity is an important thing to me.